Who do you love more, mommy or daddy?
The man who protects me.
Seoul. 2:13 a.m. A black SUV idled beneath a streetlight. Inside, a man watched an apartment window 3 floors up. No blinking lights. No visible guards. Just presence. His phone buzzed once. A photo. A little girl. Laughing. His jaw tightened. He didn't smile. He adjusted the perimeter. And waited. Some men build empires. Some build perimeters. They were laughing when they asked her. Who do you love more? Her cousin teased. Mommy or daddy? The table was warm. Loud. Safe. Lila didn't hesitate. The man who protects me. More laughter. Her aunt smiled. Oh? And who is that? Lila took a slow sip of juice. Kang Min-jae. The laughter stopped. Not because they recognized the name. Because her father did. His fork froze midair. Lila, he said carefully, who told you that name? She blinked. He did. Outside, headlights washed across the curtains. Not one car. 5. Black SUVs sliding into position like they already knew the address. The room went quiet. Her mother's voice tightened. What is this? Lila didn't look scared. She looked reassured. Her phone buzzed on the table. One message. You said my name. Naomi's stomach dropped. Who gave you that phone? Lila looked up gently. The man who keeps bad people away. The doorbell rang. Once. Not urgent. Certain. And for the first time that night, Naomi understood something that unsettled her more than fear. Her daughter wasn't pretending. She felt safe. Some children grow up afraid of powerful men. Lila grew up believing one of them would come when she called. The engines outside didn't idle. They waited. Like the house belonged to them. The door didn't swing open. It moved. Slow. Controlled. Like the house itself had decided resistance was unnecessary. Naomi grabbed Lila's wrist. Stay behind me. But Lila didn't look scared. She looked expectant. The door opened fully. He stepped inside alone. No gun drawn. No raised voice. No rush. Tall. Impeccably dressed. Black coat sharp against the warm yellow light of the dining room. His eyes scanned the room in less than 2 seconds. Father. Mother. Uncle. Exit points. Windows. Assessment complete. Then his gaze landed on Lila. And something in his expression shifted. You said my name, he told her calmly. Not angry. Not amused. Certain. Lila nodded once. They didn't believe me. A faint breath escaped him. Not quite a laugh. That is understandable. Naomi stepped forward, placing herself between them. You need to leave. He didn't look at her immediately. Instead, he crouched slightly, lowering himself to Lila's height. You must not say my name casually, he said gently. Why? She asked. Because some people listen. Are they bad people? Yes. She considered that. Okay. I won't next time. The father found his voice. You can't just walk into my house. Now Min-jae looked at him. Fully. The temperature in the room dropped without anything visible happening. I can, he said quietly. The uncle scoffed nervously. Who do you think you are? Min-jae didn't respond. He didn't need to. Outside, one of the SUV engines turned over once, low and deliberate, like punctuation. Naomi's heart was pounding now. Who are you? She demanded. He stood. Not abruptly. Decisively. Someone who ensures your daughter remains safe. That's my job, the father snapped. Min-jae's gaze flicked to him briefly. Then do it. Silence. That landed harder than a threat. Lila tugged lightly at his sleeve. You came fast. Yes. How? I was nearby. Naomi's stomach tightened. Nearby? For how long? She asked sharply. Min-jae's eyes shifted to her. Long enough. The father's anger began cracking into fear. You've been watching us? No, Min-jae corrected evenly. I've been watching the movement around you. The distinction was surgical. Naomi felt it. What movement? Before he could answer, Lila spoke softly. The blue car. Every adult in the room turned toward her. What blue car? Naomi asked. The one that parks near the bakery, Lila said. It came twice this week. Min-jae didn't look surprised. It came 4 times, he said calmly. Naomi's blood ran cold. You knew? Yes. And you didn't tell us? You weren't the target. The room went still. The father swallowed hard. And now? Min-jae's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Now you are. Outside, a second vehicle door opened. Not aggressively. Positioning. Naomi stepped closer to Lila instinctively. You need to leave, she said again, but this time it sounded less like a command and more like a plea. Min-jae's eyes never left Lila. They contacted you tonight, he said to her. She nodded. They were laughing. And you said my name? Yes. He exhaled slowly. That accelerates things. Naomi's pulse spiked. Accelerates what? For the first time, Min-jae looked directly at her with full, unfiltered weight. They were testing distance. Now they're testing attachment. The meaning settled like ice in Naomi's chest. You think this is about you? The father said weakly. Min-jae didn't respond. Because it was. A phone vibrated in his pocket. He didn't check it. Instead, he made a decision. He stepped sideways, placing himself subtly between Lila and the front windows. Not dramatic. Instinctive. Protective. You and I need to speak, he said to Naomi. About what? About scale. Outside, headlights shifted. Engines idled. Waiting. Naomi felt something change in the room. This wasn't a man here to impress a child. This was a man adjusting a perimeter. And then he said the one sentence that rewrote the night. They didn't test her. They tested me. And outside. Another engine started. No one told him to sit. He did anyway. Kang Min-jae removed his gloves and placed them on the dining table with the quiet precision of a man who didn't need permission to occupy space. Lila stood near the doorway, watching him like she'd been waiting for the next line in a story only she understood. Her father stayed standing. You shouldn't be here, he said carefully. Min-jae didn't look at him at first. His attention stayed where it had been since the door opened, on the child. I go where I'm needed, he said, voice even. Lila moved toward him without hesitation. Naomi caught her arm. You said this was a joke, she whispered, sharp with fear she refused to show. It isn't, Lila replied gently, almost apologetic, as if she hated ruining the mood. Min-jae finally turned his gaze to the adults. You asked her who she loved more, he said calmly. You forced her to rank the people who keep her safe. Her uncle scoffed. She's a child. Min-jae's eyes snapped to him. The temperature in the room dropped. She is a child, Min-jae said evenly. Which is why this ends now. She's under my protection. Silence. Her father swallowed. What does that mean? Min-jae leaned back slightly, not relaxing, choosing stillness. Dangerous in its restraint. It means when she is questioned, he said, I answer. Her mother's voice cracked. You can't just walk in here, Anne. Min-jae cut her off without raising his voice. I'm already inside. Lila stepped closer, small beside him, unafraid in a way that made Naomi's stomach twist. Min-jae looked down at her. You told them, he said. Yes. Good. Her father's anger finally broke through the fear. She's not leaving this house. Min-jae stood. No, he agreed. She isn't. Not tonight, he added. He stepped sideways instead, quietly placing himself between Lila and the room like a door closing without a sound. And Naomi understood, with a cold clarity that made her chest tighten. This wasn't a man trying to take a child. This was a man drawing a line the world would be punished for crossing. And somewhere in the city, someone had already decided to cross it. Lila stood beside Kang Min-jae as if proximity to power didn't intimidate her, dark curls framing her face, chin lifted, eyes steady. Naomi stepped forward. Let go of my daughter. Min-jae didn't tighten his grip. I'm not holding her. Naomi's voice sharpened. You walked into my home with armed men. They remained outside. That doesn't make it acceptable. Lila squeezed his hand once, not seeking comfort. Signaling. Min-jae glanced down at her. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition. He released her immediately. Lila didn't retreat to Naomi. She stepped forward again. Closer to him. Naomi's stomach tightened, not because of fear. Because of choice. How long? She asked quietly. Lila answered. Since the cemetery. The word struck hard. Min-jae didn't deny it. Naomi saw it instantly, the graveyard. The wind. Lila kneeling beside a stone she barely remembered. Crying. And the man. Watching. I don't go where I'm not called, he said. Naomi's jaw hardened. My daughter is 8. Yes. And you are? He held her gaze. Patient. Outside, something shifted in the street. Naomi felt it, not just danger. Structure. Power that didn't shout. She pulled Lila toward her this time. Lila resisted. Mom, she whispered, steady as ever, he keeps his promises. Naomi didn't look at her daughter. She looked at him. What promise? She demanded. His answer didn't waver. That no one would ever make her cry alone again. Silence filled the room. Naomi understood something then that unsettled her more than fear ever could. He hadn't approached her daughter because he wanted something. He had approached because he had noticed something. And men like Kang Min-jae did not notice without deciding. Naomi felt the words settle into the room like smoke. No one would ever make her cry alone again. That wasn't a charm. That wasn't posturing. That was infrastructure. You don't get to make promises to my child, Naomi said evenly. Min-jae's gaze shifted fully to her now. Not defensive. Not apologetic. I already did. Lila stepped forward before Naomi could answer. He didn't touch me, she said quickly. He just stood there. At the cemetery? Naomi asked, voice tightening. Lila nodded. He thought I didn't see him. Min-jae didn't deny it. I don't intervene in grief, he said calmly. Unless I'm asked. Naomi's jaw set. My daughter is not a responsibility you get to assume. Min-jae inclined his head slightly. She asked for me. Naomi's eyes flicked to the kitchen counter. The phone. Small. Pink case. Slight crack in the corner. She turned slowly to Lila. You called him? Lila nodded. They were laughing, she said softly. And you told me real men don't laugh when someone's hurting. Naomi's throat tightened. She had said that. Min-jae watched the exchange without interrupting, not claiming, not directing. Observing. Her father stepped forward. This is manipulation. Min-jae's expression remained unchanged. No, he said evenly. This is my response. The room felt smaller now. Not because of his presence. Because of what it implied. Naomi studied him carefully. You don't get to build loyalty with a child, she said. I didn't, he replied. I built reliability. Outside, one of the engines shut off. Then another. The sound was subtle. Final. Naomi looked at Lila, dark skin warm under the kitchen light, curls haloed in humidity, eyes steady in a way that unsettled her. Lila, she said carefully, what do you think this means? Lila looked at Min-jae. Then back at her mother. It means, she said simply, he came. Silence followed. Not romantic. Not dramatic. Practical. Naomi understood something then that made her pulse slow instead of spike. This wasn't a man trying to take her daughter. This was a man who answered when called. And men like Kang Min-jae did not answer small things. Outside, the last engine went quiet. For the first time, Naomi realized this wasn't a visit. It was an alignment. And alignment, once visible, changes the balance of power. The silence after the engines shut off felt heavier than the noise. Min-jae did not sit again. He stood in Naomi's living room like a man accustomed to negotiations, not arguments. I will leave, he said calmly. But first, we clarify something. Naomi crossed her arms. There's nothing to clarify. There is. His tone remained level. You and your daughter are being watched. Naomi's stomach tightened. By you? Yes. And by others? That landed differently. Her father stepped closer. What does that mean? Min-jae's gaze flicked briefly toward the window. Visibility attracts attention. Attention attracts risk. Naomi understood what he wasn't saying. You're saying your rivals know about her. I'm saying proximity creates exposure. Lila stepped forward. He told me that. Naomi turned sharply. He told you what? That if people connect me to him, some of them won't like it. Min-jae's jaw tightened, not at Lila. At the accuracy. Naomi felt anger flare. So your solution is to walk into my house and announce protection like we asked for it? You didn't, he agreed. Then leave. He nodded once. Very well. He moved toward the door. Then paused. One more thing. Naomi didn't answer. The moment someone else decides to test that exposure, I will respond. You will ask first, Naomi said sharply. He met her eyes. No. The word wasn't loud. It was final. The room absorbed it. Lila watched him without fear. Naomi stepped slightly in front of her daughter. She does not belong to your conflicts. She doesn't, he agreed. That is precisely why I intend to keep her outside them. That shifted the air. Not control. Containment. He opened the door. The cool night slipped inside. As he stepped out, he looked once at Lila. If anything feels wrong, he said quietly, call. Not possessive. Not demanding. Procedural. The door closed behind him. Outside, engines restarted in synchronized rhythm. No revving. No show. Just movement. Naomi stood very still. He hadn't come to claim anything. He hadn't come to intimidate. He had come to establish parameters. And parameters, once defined, change how the rest of the city behaves. Naomi didn't like that. Because whether she accepted it or not, a line had just been drawn. And everyone who understood power would see it. Naomi didn't sleep. She lay awake long after the SUVs disappeared, listening to every sound outside the apartment building. Elevators. Footsteps. Car doors. Lila slept peacefully. That unsettled her more than anything. At 6:12 a.m., Naomi's phone vibrated. Unknown number. Her pulse jumped. She didn't answer. A message appeared instead. You were followed yesterday. Blue sedan. License plate incomplete. My men handled it. Naomi's throat tightened. She walked to the window slowly and looked down. Across the street, parked beside a bakery that didn't open until 9, sat a black SUV. Engine off. Driver inside. Watching. Her phone buzzed again. Do not mistake my presence for intrusion. It is prevention. She typed back before she could second-guess herself. We didn't ask for this. The reply came instantly. You didn't see the blue sedan either. Naomi's stomach dropped. She replayed yesterday in her mind: grocery store, bus stop, laughter at dinner. Nothing unusual. Which meant he was right. She hadn't seen it. Behind her, Lila's voice floated from the bedroom. Is he outside? Naomi turned slowly. Yes. Lila padded into the living room in pink socks, curling wild from sleep. He promised he would stay until it was safe, she said simply. Naomi crouched down in front of her daughter. Lila. Listen to me carefully. Powerful men do not give things for free. Lila considered that. He didn't give me anything, she said. He gave you protection. Lila shook her head gently. He gave me attention. That hit differently. Naomi stood, walking back toward the window. The SUV hadn't moved. The driver didn't look up. But Naomi understood something now. This wasn't romance. This wasn't an obsession. This was surveillance wrapped in devotion. Her phone buzzed once more. There will be no contact today. You have my word. Naomi stared at the message. Power didn't usually ask permission. Power didn't usually explain. Which meant one thing unsettled her more than the SUV outside. Kang Min-jae wasn't acting like a predator. He was acting like a guardian. And that made him harder to fight. The blue sedan returned. Naomi saw it this time. Same dull navy paint. Same slow roll past the bakery. Same pause at the intersection like the driver was pretending to check directions. The black SUV across the street didn't move. But Naomi felt the shift. Her phone buzzed before she could react. Stay inside. No greeting. No signature. Just command. Naomi's jaw tightened. She didn't like being instructed in her own home. But she stepped back from the window anyway. Lila was sitting at the small kitchen table drawing, dark crayon pressing hard into the paper. What are you drawing? Naomi asked. Lila didn't look up. A house. Naomi glanced at it. There were 3 figures. One tall. One medium. One small. All holding hands. Her chest tightened. The phone buzzed again. They're testing visibility. Not engagement. Naomi typed back quickly. Who are they? 3 dots appeared immediately. Then stopped. Then it appeared again. Rival interests. Not the police. Not random criminals. Organized. Intentional. The blue sedan slowed further this time. Naomi's breath caught. The black SUV's engine came to life quietly. No screech. No drama. Just movement. The sedan continued forward. The SUV followed. 2 blocks down, both vehicles turned out of sight. Silence returned. Lila looked up finally. He won't let anything happen, she said with absolute confidence. Naomi exhaled slowly. Protection always has a price, she replied. Lila tilted her head. He already paid for it. Naomi frowned. What does that mean? Lila shrugged. He said once people know you care about something, they try to take it. Naomi felt something cold settle under her ribs. And what did he say about that? Lila's voice softened. He said he's not afraid of being hated. Naomi walked back to the window. The SUV had returned to its original position. Still. Watching. This wasn't an escalation. Not yet. This was positioning. And Naomi understood something now that made her pulse spike. They weren't circling Lila. They were circling him. And her daughter was in the center of it. The message came at noon. Not from Min-jae. From an unknown number. We would like to meet the child. Neutral location. 4 p.m. Naomi's blood ran cold. No signature. No emojis. Just coordinates attached. A cafe 3 blocks away. Public. Crowded. Strategic. Her phone buzzed again seconds later. Min-jae. Do not respond. Naomi stared at the 2 threads side by side. One silent and calculating. One immediate and controlled. She typed back. They contacted me directly. The reply came instantly. I know. Her stomach twisted. How? She whispered. Lila looked up from the couch. Is it him? Yes. Are we going somewhere? Naomi hesitated. Before she could answer, the phone buzzed again. Not a message. A call. She declined it. It rang again. Lila watched her carefully. Naomi answered on the 3rd ring. Silence. Then a smooth male voice. You've been difficult to reach, Ms. Brooks. Naomi's spine straightened. Who is this? A soft chuckle. Someone less dramatic than your current protector. Her jaw clenched. You contacted my daughter. No, the voice corrected. We contacted you. Because unlike him, we prefer consent. Naomi's grip tightened on the phone. What do you want? A conversation. About shared interests. You mean leverage. Another soft laugh. You're intelligent. I like that. The call ended without goodbye. Naomi stared at the screen. Her phone buzzed immediately after. Min-jae. Location secured. Do not attend. Naomi typed back before thinking. You don't control my decisions. 3 dots appeared. Paused. Then. No. But I control what happens if you make the wrong one. Across the street, the black SUV's engine started again. Not moving. Just ready. Lila walked over quietly and took Naomi's hand. Mom, she said softly, if they want to meet me, it's not because of me. Naomi swallowed. No, she agreed. It's because of him. And suddenly. This wasn't about protection anymore. It was about positioning. They weren't circling Lila. They were circling him. And by standing beside her, Kang Min-jae had made something clear. She wasn't collateral. She was chosen. Naomi felt it then. The shift. The inevitability. You can refuse a powerful man. You can ignore him. But once he decides to protect you, the city reacts. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One message. We see the alignment. Naomi didn't breathe. Because alignment meant one thing. War. And this time, it wouldn't be fought in the dark. If you were Naomi, would you stay under his protection? Or would you disappear before the war begins? Comment stay or run. Part 2 drops in 48 hours.